We good?
Yep, I think so. Does everyone sound okay?
Yep.
Yeah. Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 52 of the Out of Nowhere podcast. I am your host today, Michael, and I am joined by Stephen and Chelsea.
Hey.
Good evening.
Take two.
Take two.
It's a bit like deja vu.
Ugh, try Groundhog Day. Let's jump into it because we want to get this done in quick time. Let's start with a bit of interesting news today. Let's talk about TNA real quick. Thoughts and opinions. It was rumored this week that WWE have put in an offer to buy TNA, along with the parent company of Ring of Honor as well. Do you think this is a viable offer? And do you think it is good? Do you think it'll happen? Steve, any ideas? Any thoughts?
My only thought would be that it would appear to be for the the archive footage maybe, especially with the guys that are coming in now, the likes of obviously having AJ Styles and Samoa Joe and people like that. It's probably in the WWE's interest to get their TNA's archives onto the network as well, so that people can go back and look at sort of their older stuff if they don't have access to it elsewhere or don't visit YouTube, etc. I can't see it being for anything more than that. I can't see them.
No, rumor has it that the bid is purely based on the fact they want the video archive footage for Samoa Joe and AJ Styles.
Yeah,
and
that sounds about right.
That will work for Austin Aries, and that will work for Bobby Roode as well. So, yeah, I mean that's what it seems to be. Chelsea, you could take the other question then. Is this a good thing? Should this happen?
No, I don't think it should, because I think if they are literally going to buy them out just for the archive footage and stuff, surely the whole thing down afterwards.
Pretty much.
So it would be a case of buying TNA to just have a few videos. There's no point. I mean, I get that they maybe do want the AJ Styles and Samoa Joe stuff, but they do just fine without it. I just don't see the point of them buying it just to inevitably just take it off the air and stop the whole thing.
My opinion is, surely if they put an offer in to buy TNA of X amount, are they going to get that back? Just if they're not even going to do anything with the brand, if they just want to use it for video archiving, how are they going to make that money back? Or is it got to a point where Vince McMahon's balls have got so big that he just wants, I'm going to buy them out. I don't care about them. I just want the video, and it doesn't matter how much I pay for it. I just want to buy them.
You won't be far from the truth there, I won't imagine.
Yeah, maybe. Well, Ring of Honor's parent company is also in the running, and it's said that WWE's offer would be if nobody else buys them. So, a last resort, basically. But I think
I suppose that's not too bad then, because at that point you've to go against what Chelsea's just said there. Yeah, if Vince or the WWE are saying, look, if nobody's buying it, we will pay you a certain amount just so we can get the footage, then it's not to the detriment of somebody else offering and wanting to keep it running, is it? So if it is a case that nobody's actually offering anything for the show as it is to keep it going, if it's just going to close anyway and WWE are going to put in an offer just to get the footage, then I don't see a problem with that.
Well, we'll watch this space, I guess. But let's move on to the WWE, and let's start with Raw. I just want to jump to some of the best parts of the show, I guess. We finally saw the introduction of the cruiserweights onto Raw.
Yeah, we did.
And they offered up the best match of the week, I would say. We had a fatal four-way match between Brian Kendrick, Cedric Alexander, Gran Metalik, and Rich Swann. And they got themselves a good 15-minute chunk, and even got some "This is awesome" chants on Raw. So, they're doing their job already. Charles, this was clearly the highlight of the show, despite Mick Foley's attempt to completely fuck up the entire cruiserweight introduction. Because let's be honest, if this was introduced poorly and their match was a flop, that would have been it for him. They would have killed the cruiserweight division immediately, and Mick Foley fucked up their introduction.
It was, yeah.
So Charles, this cruiserweight match, give us your thoughts. Did you like it? Was it the best one of the night in your opinion? Are you looking forward to seeing more?
Yeah, I would definitely say it was the best match of the night. Like you say, Mick Foley did try his best to, kind of fuck it up. But I think, I mean, obviously with the first week, they're not gonna push it forward more than they usually would, sort of thing. So I think it's one of those things where you're gonna have to look at it in, say, like 2 months' time, and then make a judgment on what they're doing with it. Because I think, obviously, for the first time, it's on Raw, and obviously Monday's Raw was very close to being like one of the lowest rated ever. Obviously, like Monday Night Football's not helping and stuff like that. But I think if it carries on the way it is, I think I saw a report that said next week could realistically be the lowest rated episode of Raw ever. So I think it is just they really need like 2 months or a bit more just to see where they're going with it, really, because I really think that straight out the bat they are just gonna give it everything. But I don't know whether it's gonna continue like that, and whether in the next couple of weeks they suddenly start getting like 5-minute matches, or one of them's jobbing to Braun Strowman. Like, I just need to see how it goes over the next couple of weeks.
It better fucking not end up jobbing a Braun Strowman. Stephen, the match itself, the Fatal 4-Way, Brian Kendrick came out with the win over Cedric Alexander with the bully choke, or as the captain's hook, is he calling it on this show?
Yeah.
Throughout the entire CWC, Daniel Bryan called the bully choke. I imagining they're just not allowed to call it bully on live TV. Brian Kendrick got the win, Steve. Your thoughts on that?
I thought the match saved, as you've just said, the match saved the initial start of it. First of all, the match lived up to how I would have expected. It was a perfect carry on from where the Cruiserweight the Cruiserweight Classic left off. The first thing I found really staggering from like this was how many people that go to these live shows mustn't have like the WWE network or don't watch anything, because the chance for the crowd reaction when the guys were coming out was non-existent. Like, they literally had no idea who Cedric Alexander was. They barely even clapped for Brian Kendrick when he came out. It was really bizarre, and Brian Kendrick, sorry. But then they clearly got, luckily, and this is what we always hoped would happen, didn't we, is that they actually were allowed to wrestle and they were allowed to do what they do, and the crowd was soon won over, which was, like you said, was a really good job, because between the way that they introduced them, for why they chose to do it that way, I don't know. But between that and the lack of reaction to them coming out, the crowd eventually got into it, and it wasn't long before they were fully appreciating what was going on in the ring. And I thought the match was a perfect continuation of what we've seen. The only problem I had with any of it was that we didn't actually even see the champion.
Right, I was going to get to that.
Why we don't? There's almost an argument that he should have been opening the show for me. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? If they're wanting to put this across, and they've been selling it, and as it's been getting closer and closer, they've been selling it more. That there's been more advertisements on Raw saying cruiserweights are coming. Why not have? Fair enough. Maybe opening the show is a bit too far. I can kind of, that's fair enough. But get the champ on the show. Get him on there.
This is the 52nd episode, and everyone has been explicit, so
So, yeah,
I don't know why you.
I don't know.
Don't know why you say
I thought it was on a work call, and sometimes it happens there as well. Yeah, why the champion isn't coming out, and that should have been the start of it. Even if he came out and introduced himself and then was on commentary, do something with him. But to not to not bring him out at all, especially when he's been tweeting out earlier, cruiserweights are here on Raw. Can't wait for this, and he's showing a picture of him holding the title and stuff. It's
Very
so
strange.
bizarre, very bizarre.
But
luckily, the action in the ring was perfectly fine. Was what we expected.
And we will see him coming up at the Clash of Champions, as this was a number one contender match, because all championships must be defended at Clash of Champions. So we will have the Brian Kendrick versus TJ Perkins at Clash of Champions, which for me I think is a good idea, since the Brian Kendrick is pretty much the only one that they had any kind of idea who he was.
Yeah.
Probably good to have a familiar face in there. Probably. Right, let's move on. The women's title, we have Charlotte, who will be going up against both Bayley and Sasha Banks in a triple threat match this coming Sunday. They were in a tag match this week, and Bayley lost due to some, it wasn't interference, I guess, good tag team work, maybe you would call it, from Dana Brooks, and leaving Sasha Banks looking a little PO'd. So, Stephen, Sasha Banks, is she transitioning from her face character into a more heel character, or is this just a slow burn to a Bayley versus Sasha feud?
I think that's the slow burn. I think you've hit the nail on the head there. With regards to the, is it the move into the heel persona? I'm really not sure. I was kind of thinking that as I was watching it, and it's something that I thought, like, she's on that cusp of being. She's not a face and she's not a heel. She is on that cusp at all times, and so
she's always, in my eyes, she's always been a super arrogant babyface.
Yeah,
like a babyface who still says they're the best, and no one else is better than them, and won't even come close.
Yeah.
So she's been a weird line, but I think personally myself that now they are building her to get to a more heel place. I think
they will
be more interesting.
Yeah, definitely. I think they will eventually go down there, and if you assume that they're building to Bayley and Sasha at Mania, Sasha will be the heel there. So they're going to have to transition her into that heel persona at some point before then. It's fine. She works better when she's like that. I think I find it to be it's when, like, the backstage segment between her and Bayley, where she's trying to be like really over as like really face. I find it to be quite cheesy, like between them and stuff. So I'm quite happy for. It clearly doesn't come naturally to Sasha to portray that way. I think it's a lot easier to portray how she's doing now and as a heel.
Well, I think one of the longest fans of Sasha Banks that I have known is Chelsea, and even you, Chelsea, was saying that she's becoming annoying. Was it the word you said?
Well, it's just that accent that she puts on. Like, it just sounds fucking terrible. Like, just the way she pronounces some words and stuff. Like, I guess she's whatever accent she's trying to put on, but she at least do it well. But she seems to be putting it on like thicker and thicker and thicker, and it just doesn't sound good. And when she starts talking, it's just at that point now where it just like, stop, please, just stop.
But the upcoming match, we've got the triple threat match coming up. Without going into who you think might win, because we'll do a really quick predictions after this. You looking forward to the triple threat match?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's Sasha, Bayley, and Charlotte. I don't think much can go wrong.
Well, they can.
Yeah, yeah. But you know what I mean? Like, those three, there's no doubts about their wrestling ability and stuff like that. They're going to put on a good match.
It'd be like a match. It'll be great up until the finish.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, something's obviously going to screw up the finish. But as for the match itself, yeah, there's no doubt to my mind that it's going to be good.
Here is our weekly call out to Chris Jericho, providing some great comedy moments in the back. The list of Jericho. How do we rank that up there with Jericho's current backstage shenanigans?
Oh, I absolutely love this segment.
I loved it until it got to the ring, and then it was a fucking clusterfuck. But the backstage stuff with Foley, good stuff.
Yeah, I think Chris Jericho he every single week he keeps getting better and better and better, and this is I think literally like Chris Jericho is probably my favorite all-time wrestler, and I have never enjoyed him as much as I'm enjoying him now. Like he can stay forever and just stay like this, and I'll be happy.
Right, let's move on to the main event of the night. We had Kevin Owens versus who was it? Roman Reigns in a cage match for reasons. Yeah, reasons. And Seth Rollins came down and made the save as Kevin Owens and Rusev was beating down Roman Reigns after the match. The match was Roman Reigns beat Kevin Owens by climbing over the cage as Owens was trying to get out through the door, which always really annoys me, that kind of finish. If you're well enough to climb up the cage, just go out the door. Anyway, so that whole thing happened. But my question to you, and Chelsea, you can go first with this one. Seth Rollins now a babyface?
I really think they're slowly trying to turn him that way.
I don't even know if it's slow. Yeah.
No, it's at full speed now.
No, I definitely think that it's going that way. I mean, when he came back, he should have been a face as soon as he came back, like, especially with the whole Triple H thing and him costing him that. But yeah, I'm really happy that if they are going a face turn with him, then, but like I say, it should have happened from the very beginning.
I think they needed a reason for him to go face, didn't they? And they didn't really have that up until the Triple H point. The segment more telling than the fact he came out and he kind of saved Roman Reigns. The show ended, didn't it, before we saw anything to suggest that he was doing it for Roman or he was just doing it to make a point. The segment with Steph in the back before the match was more prominent to showing that he was going to be, he was becoming, he wasn't there. He's not their guy anymore. He isn't on their side, so to speak. Where she was telling him that, Kevin Owens is the man. Kevin Owens is better than you. You haven't got it anymore, basically. And he was saying that he was going to make their lives a living hell. I think that was literally you're looking at your point of turn right there.
Yeah, I agree. That backstage segment with Stephanie where he pretty much threatened her and said that I'm going to be your worst nightmare, pretty much seals it. Although at some point I think there must be a reckoning where he does realise that Stephanie had nothing to do with it. Or the alternative, that Stephanie had planned the entire thing. One of those two things is going to happen. I just don't know which one it'll be. Good acting on Stephanie's part, though. Because then you could, if that is true, and Stephanie did orchestrate the whole thing, then we even have Mick Foley going against him, and that'd be interesting also.
Yeah, that's a whole other angle in it. They're definitely leaving that open as an option at the moment. I don't think it is, like you say, unless Steph's become this brilliant actress, because I'm completely sold on the fact that she has no clue whatsoever. But they've kind of they've made a point of having Foley say that she had nothing to do with it. He trusts that she had nothing to do with this. So they're definitely leaving it open. It's almost as if they don't know how the story's going to end just yet, and they're just leaving everything open for themselves.
I think you might be right. It seems like a lot of the stories now, they go, let's just put this line as a throwaway line, just in case that someone ends up getting injured,
Yeah.
and we can change it as we go. But that was pretty much Raw.
The match was great, by the way, up until I really enjoyed it.
It was a bit of a mess show though, other than the final two acts, basically, where we had the cruiserweights and this cage match. Seeing Rollins jump off the top of the cage, that's always fun. So ended on a high note, but as a go-home show to add before a pay-per-view, not right.
Yeah,
not
cracking. No.
Let's go to SmackDown though, where I really quite enjoyed SmackDown this week. What about you, Steve?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I watched it last night, and it was. I definitely prefer SmackDown, especially at the moment. It's a lot more to the point. There's a lot more. Seems to be a lot more wrestling on it, even though it's on for an hour less. There's that. I'm even warming to the way that Daniel Bryan comes across, like general managers and how he is. I really enjoy SmackDown, and last night was no different. It was what you've come to expect from from SmackDown so far. A good tag team, a great tag team match. A great Intercontinental Championship scene, which is fantastic at the moment, I think. And
it's actually possibly one of the most interesting titles in the entire.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know if you guys have got to watch SmackDown, Talking Smack, sorry. Yeah,
I have.
Or not.
I have.
Daniel Bryan was he's on every week. Was saying that for as much as he doesn't like The Miz and The Miz doesn't like him, The Miz has done what he said he was going to do. He's brought the title back. He's made it relevant. He's bringing it to the, he's making it the must-see part of the show. And you can't argue with that because he is. And I'm loving the way that he's winning at the moment, despite everybody's saying you can only win by cheating, you do this and you can only do that. He continues to just do it that way.
He's a heel. He's allowed to. Let's go into the show then. You said on Raw, you think the opening with the Cruiserweights might have been a good idea. I wouldn't have expected that to happen, but I also wouldn't have expected the women's contract signing to open a show either, which is exactly how SmackDown did. We opened the show with Daniel Bryan's music. He's already in the ring. The crowd were already shouting yes. But bring out Becky Lynch and then followed by Alexa Bliss to sign a contract, which obviously ends poorly, as all contract signings do. But yeah, I mean, refreshing opening. Charles, have you seen SmackDown, or have you just got the highlights? Because I know it was only last night. So.
Yeah, no, I've watched bits and bobs. I think I've watched the highlights of each segment.
Well, I mean, it is a quick turnaround from SmackDown to us doing this, but Lynch basically said she put her heart and soul into all of this, and she wasn't born to be a champion; she just fought to be a champion. But coming up, another pay-per-view around the corner. We're going to have Bliss versus Becky Lynch, and I'm really looking forward to it. I think Bliss impressed me in the multi-man matches that they had, and I'm really looking forward to a singles match. And Chelsea, you're a big fan of Bliss. I don't know if you're a big fan of her wrestling or if it's just a persona, but looking forward to this one.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, with this contract signing, I find Becky is very 50-50 with her promos. They're either really good or not so great, and I thought both of them this week did really, really well on the mic. I love Alexa Bliss, like her in-ring and her persona. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. And unfortunately, I can't see anybody taking the belt off Becky for a while. But I'm looking forward to seeing what they do. But I don't even think I've seen 100% of Backlash yet, and you to say No Mercy was next week.
Yeah.
October 9th, a week on Sunday.
It's fucking crazy.
So we have Night of Champions this Sunday. We had Backlash 2 weeks ago, and we have No Mercy,
No Mercy next week.
Next week.
next weekend.
Yeah.
Have you got enough wrestling yet, guys?
I'm completely worn out of it, if I'm being quite honest. Like it literally, it does seem it just seems to be like literally every single night at the moment.
It's
The
relentless.
it is, and it's more the turnaround of the pay-per-views. I think that's going to be the problem. I think we kind of touched on this, didn't we, when the brand split happened? That it was how the pay-per-views were going to work and whether it was going to overkill. If it carries on at this rate, it is going to be overkill. Now, maybe it might be slightly different because obviously we've lost Cruiserweight Classic now, so that's now gone. That's an hour that's gone, kind of thing.
That's true.
But it just seems to have been relentless for the last 3 weeks. It seems to literally be watching wrestling every single night, and for them to turn a pay-per-view around now for SmackDown one, considering it was only 2 weeks ago, it seems ridiculous. We can't keep on at that pace. I mean, even for the stories, forget like us watching it, you can't get any stories because, I mean, we didn't even know about No Mercy until this week or last week at the earliest. So, they're basically they're creating an entire story in 2 weeks, and it's just not going to work like that. And I think
unless you're Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt, where you'd be building for about 17 months.
Don't even get me started on them this week.
I just want to know, with like the amount of pay-per-views obviously that they're having, I did read like when it was Backlash, like Backlash was nowhere close to even being like close to sold out. It was like at the point where I think they were giving away free tickets like outside the arena on the day, and there was ringside seats like still available on the day that like it was happening. And I think even though they are obviously in different states and stuff, but the amount of pay-per-views they have, I don't see how they're going to make as much money out of it, because obviously when they've got this once a month thing, they are able to sell it out because people are excited and they're going to go. But when you do have a pay-per-view like every 2 weeks at this point, like I just don't see like them selling out the crowds and getting as many people in, let alone whether people are still, whoever buys it on like Sky Box Office and stuff like that, like they're not going to pay like £15 like every weekend, are they?
No, I think we'll see a lot more of them going free. But in terms of them making money, they will make their money still. Don't you worry about that. Let's stop lamenting the pay-per-views and actually get back to the show. Next thing we saw was Miz and Maryse backstage, and apparently Miz has signed a new contract. I totally missed that. Did anyone see anything about that?
No, there was nothing. It was no.
A bit of a sad payoff, but apparently he didn't read his fine print, as in there it said that he has to defend his title when said, otherwise his contract will be terminated. So he will be having a match tonight, and yes, it will be against Dolph Ziggler. Right. We see the return of the American Alpha Tag Team versus the Usos in a number one contenders match. In a bit of a revenge, or an attempted revenge story. However, the Usos defeated American Alpha in what I thought was a really, really awesome match.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I'm now firmly behind backing this Uso heel turn. I think it's great for him.
I mean, the storytelling that they did in this match, all based around basically Gable's knee, was fantastic, and the way it was built into the end was just a fantastic, well put together match, and it shits over anything that Raw does. That's the thing. This first match of SmackDown, this tag team match, just shit all over anything that Raw had to, other than the final two, obviously.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. American Alpha continue to do what they do, and like you said, the way that you know, they kept Gable's injury involved in it and used that to determine how it was win with Jordan not tag, you know, selfishly not tag, unselfishly refusing to tag him in so that he didn't get injured anymore, and then obviously and then losing the match himself. It was really good, and it's really good. But I think it's just all around really good booking, because we were so keen on American Alpha getting the titles, and I think the way that they've done it now is a lot better. You know, they giving it to. They had no choice but to give it to Heath Slater, did they, in the end, after the way that he came across, you know, that he had to end up signing with them because of the way that story had run. But then for them to resist them going up straight up against American Alpha and giving them the titles, which is obviously where it's going to go eventually. You know, that's going to be the end point, which is absolutely fine. I think giving it a little bit more, giving it something else in between before they get them is going to work really well for the division. Like for me, there's no question that the Usos are going to win the titles. You know, I'd be very surprised if they didn't win them at this next pay-per-view, and then set up a little, you know, a series between them and American Alpha. But you're right, the the tag team division on SmackDown is it's really strong.
And this match will obviously result in a tag team title match at No Mercy. So we'll have Rhino and Heath Slater against the Usos. Following the match, we had a backstage segment when them two faced off, and it still amazes me, like how good, and Chelsea, you know from watching Total Divas, I guess, how good like the Usos are. When totally comfortable, such as on Talking Smack or on Up Down Down, and yet how awkward they seem to be, like in backstage segments. Like the one when they was talking to Rhino and Slater just after the match and said, you know, we're going to come get your titles, basically. But then they started saying, so I'm going to take your crackers off you. Right, okay. And, you know, 26 raggedy ass kids was the only good part of the entire thing. It just seems so weird. Like, the Usos just can't put a backstage segment together. It's just strange.
I think a lot of that I think they're being tied to what they have to say still at the moment. You know,
I think so.
I do, because like you say, we've seen them on Up Down Down. We've seen on Talking Smack where it appears to be somewhere where the wrestlers can go out and they can just open up kind of thing and say what they want.
We'll talk about the people saying what they want on Talking Smack in a minute.
You know, we know that they can actually, and obviously, like you were saying, they've been on Total Divas, so they're comfortable in front of the camera. Like you say, the promos backstage always seem to be a bit worse, and I think that I do think that they kind of are getting that written a little bit for them still, by the sounds of it. Like they haven't been given full reign to just let them do what they want to do, which hopefully will come in. You know, by now they should be allowed, but considering the heels, especially now, they should be allowed to just basically say what they want and you know, cut out the silly and go serious.
Chelsea, the tag team of Rhino and Heath Slater. How do you? I mean, we're expecting them to lose the titles, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I really think that they were given the titles just for the Heath Slater to have like an end game sort of thing and get his contract. And I really don't see them having a long reign. And like I said, they're going to be tag team champions for like 3 weeks. But yeah, I don't see them holding on to the belts at all when it comes to No Mercy.
I think pretty much it was set up for some humour, and so that Rhino can do some campaigning. That's basically it. Our boy Baron Corbin continues to look good over his call-up buddy Apollo Crews, who got destroyed once again. But I couldn't give talks about Baron Corbin, Jack Swagger, but I will give them some time because they've not really done anything other than actually just stand face to face. But yeah, I just don't care about Jack Swagger. Like, he's done nothing to make me care about him for many, many years. So why should I care now?
It made me, I couldn't agree more. It made me laugh when he was in commentary and they were saying, you know, your contract ran out and the first place you came to was SmackDown. Why did you choose that? And I was like, I just wanted to turn around and say, well, it's part of, it's the only place I had to go, really. There's nowhere else to go.
Yeah, just like,
I think
what else was there to do?
I think Jack Swagger's one of those people that could really do with like a rundown in NXT, just to like rebuild his character, kind of like Tyson Kidd did.
And Emma and
Yeah.
Eva Marie. Yeah, you could be right, but I mean, I think Jack Swagger at this point, if he was told go back down to NXT, he would just be like, "Yeah, all right, I'm done. See you later."
Yeah.
But yeah.
I think, I would rather see Baron Corbin going up against somebody up and coming or somebody else than trying to bring Jack Swagger back. I don't really get the point of that, to be honest.
Well, yeah, I mean, who would that be? I think that's the problem. But there's plenty of people that they have in the company that they can use, I suppose. They've got a whole NXT roster they can dip into. Yeah, let's leave that behind. Strange, really strange, stupid Kurt Hawkins video. Anybody seen that? I was really looking forward to seeing Kurt Hawkins back, but I don't even know what this is going to be.
Well, it's annoying, first of all, that they're taking off the Chuck Norris catchphrases. First of all, which is infuriating. It's poor. It's poorly done. It's going to be another one that comes out, and he's going to be done within a month.
These are the facts.
That is the fact. It's shining stars all over again. I'll tell you now.
Why do they continue to do this, Chaz? Why do they continue to bring people in with a gimmick that is surely just going to fail?
I have no idea. I mean, like you said, the Shining Stars were a perfect example of that. Like, they brought them back to what end? Like, I literally don't even have an answer for you. I've got no idea. It just doesn't make any sense.
It's like they're happy with just people coming back in mediocrity. Like,
I mean, it's not even people that people are going to go crazy for. Like, they come back and you're like, oh, fair. It's like Jinder Mahal. Like,
well, he was that. I mean, that's probably the worst of the line. Like, just why?
Yeah, like,
I mean, at least Kurt Hawkins has some, some following from indie scenes. I hear nothing of people saying, "Do you know what, Jinder Mahal?" Yeah. I don't know what name he goes by on the indies. I'm sure he's done indies, but I'm not hearing anybody say anything about him. But yeah, weird Kurt Hawkins promos. So we'll see how that pans out. I think we all know how it will go. But yeah, we had then, we was meant to have a women's tag team match. Nikki and the Glow. What's her face? What's her name? Totally lost it. Naomi. Yeah. Naomi versus Natalya and
Carmella. Come on.
There we go. Thank you. What a stupid segment. I'm all for like people getting beatdowns and stuff, but when the entrances take longer than the actual segment.
Well, we had half the entrances missed for a start. Like, I'm not happy if like I'm all behind this the women's revolution and stuff, but I still want to see Nikki Bella do a twirl when she comes in before I stop being a little bit sexist and enjoy the women's wrestling. So for them to take that off, first of all, is ridiculous, and then and then, like you say, to only give them 5 minutes is.
It wasn't even that. It
wasn't even that. And then.
Can we also point out the end of the match? Like,
it wasn't a disqualification.
No.
No, it happened.
all she did was, I can't remember who it was, but one of them broke up the submission or the pin or whatever of the other person.
Of her own teammate.
Yeah,
Carmella
like
basically pulled her out of the
when
ring.
has that ever finished a match before?
Yeah, I don't know. Like maybe the aggression she was showing when she shouldn't have even been in the ring was a bit too much.
Well,
Maybe.
You've seen worse than that, right?
Carmella said exactly this on Talking Smack, by the way. She said, "Where is the disqualification? I don't really know." Yeah, strange. I agree, but
They continue to shoot themselves in the foot with the women's wrestling. You know that they advertise it and they try to promote it so much, and then they only give them they give them less than 5 minutes with a dodgy ending. It's slowly getting to fast forward time with women's stuff. I find at the moment.
No, not there again.
I think we're close to it.
Hopefully, our tag team. No, not tag team. Our singles match of Becky and I'm just totally losing names at this point. Who's she fighting again?
Alexa Bliss.
Thank you. Yeah, Becky and Bliss. Hopefully, the singles match of them will give us something to be cheering about come the next pay-per-view, which is just around the corner. Right, we had a championship match, Intercontinental title, The Miz versus Dolph Ziggler. A great match, a good match again. SmackDown continues to put on a good wrestling show. But it was The Miz who once again defeated Dolph Ziggler. But not because of Maurice. It was actually all of the Miz's doing this time. Maurice was sent to the back with her pepper spray or her hairspray or whatever it is that she uses to spray people in the eyes with. Good way of them actually getting it into the Miz's hand, I thought. Setting it up well, throwing him into the ring steps and picking it up off the floor, distracting the ref with title belt, and then sprayed him in the eyes for a skull-crushing finale. So the Miz retains, but once again with underhanded tactics. Stephen, what are they going to do with Dolph Ziggler now? Is he going to get another chance because he's
This is what I was just about to say. Like based on how Daniel Bryan has sold SmackDown so far of people getting the chances and having a fair shot at, a fair rub of the green, we're basically going to see these two fight again at No Mercy.
Yeah.
Which is just the whole problem that we've had all this time with like the likes of Ziggler. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's just a complete overkill. Like they either need to give him the title and let him have a title run and see what runs with that, or let him step away from it from a bit, like get defeated clean and like him go back and say he just needs to go away and think about stuff and then come back in like Chelsea was saying last week, come back in a month or 2 months time with a whole different attitude and see if he can come back refreshed and pick it up from there, because he's just not. And it's not his fault. He puts on a brilliant match every single week. You can't argue. You could almost say that the match that he's in is the top match on SmackDown at the moment. It's just the same thing over and over again, and it's whether they're doing that on purpose to get it to that point where he goes away for a bit or what, I don't know, but. For me, he's due another match because he hasn't lost clean again. Like we will literally see next week the same interview of Ziggler coming out and saying he can only win by cheating. Daniel Bryan to say, yeah, I agree. You've got a rematch at No Mercy.
Let's talk about Daniel Bryan. How much is he just at this moment just pushing to be allowed to get back into the ring? He mentioned the fact that he wasn't allowed. He mentioned on Talking Smack that during the build-up to his match that he should have had at WrestleMania 32, that WWE had documented the entire thing and he was followed by cameras everywhere. And they have this footage that they absolutely refused to release despite Daniel Bryan wanting it to be done. And he totally just goes public with it and starts a hashtag release the bear. So
that can't be true, surely. That must be a shoot.
That must be what?
It must be. It must be a work. Yeah, it must be a work that it's that they're not
No,
releasing it. And
I totally believe that's absolutely true.
if it is, I love it. I love that he's using talking smack to come. This is what we were saying before with talking smack. If that's what if it continues to be that and stops being it continues to be that thing where you think, oh, this is where they can, this is where people can say what they want to say.
Did you see it, Charles?
I haven't seen Talking Smack, no.
Well,
it's
yeah,
it's the best part of SmackDown every week, nearly.
that's a bit unfair to SmackDown, I guess, but yeah, it's certainly interesting. Like, let's be honest, like he's being cleared by many doctors at this point. I can't even remember how many it's been said, but he's been cleared by many doctors. It's literally just WWE who will not clear him to wrestle for good reasons, sure. But at the same time, here's the documentary that they put out, which will probably show and clearly show that Daniel Bryan is being told, yes, you can wrestle, and WWE are saying, no, you can't, and that's why they don't want to release it. There's got to be it, right? But at the same time, while all that's going on, and obviously that's going on in the background, and we're not seeing much about that, they're just kind of positioning this whole Daniel Bryan thing as in that when he comes to do a match, which seems at this point inevitable, that it's going to be against The Miz, and that just seems really weird. Like, if you was going to build something up, why wouldn't it be against a Nakamura or an AJ Styles or something like that? Why are we going with The Miz if he was to have one more match? Because I don't know about you, Charles. Do you feel the same way that all of this just seems to be that Daniel Bryan's going to get back in the ring?
It's definitely pushing that way, isn't it? And whether Bryan's just doing that out of his own accord, just to like try and put it forward to them, like as the idea. But I completely agree. Like if Daniel Bryan was to come back, I mean, if he's going to come back and wrestle, maybe just part-time but still have a few matches, then yeah, him going up against The Miz is fine. But if it was a case of a one match only, I would be pissed if it was against The Miz.
Steve?
I don't know. I think they've sold me on Story now. I'd like to see it.
I mean,
yeah, I get where you're coming from. I mean, he's not going to have a part. There's no way if they've refused to clear him for so long, they're not going to let him part-time wrestle. If this is happening, it's going to be a one-off WrestleMania type thing, isn't it? So I do get where you're coming from. That if he has got one more match, there's a whole lot of people, especially when you look at there's the cruiserweight people there as well, who he could go against one of those. Well, no,
his first match
on Raw, but
first ever match was against Spanky.
Brian
Kendrick.
Yeah, exactly.
It'd be cool to have his final match, I guess, against Brian Kendrick. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I do get what you're saying. I think they've managed to they've gone that far down the route of The Miz and Daniel Bryan. I'd quite like to see that as well at some point. To be fair.
But this is the thing: that if he can't get in the ring or he doesn't get cleared to go in the ring, what is the payoff going to be? Like that's
no,
the only payoff.
There ain't one because there ain't one is there because obviously he can't win the title if he's not going to be able to wrestle again. So it damages a little bit of his legacy, so to speak, to come back and lose to The Miz, in a kind of cheaty way and then not wrestle again. I don't know. It's very up in the air. Like you say, it's a lot. I would think by the looks of it, this is a lot more of Daniel Bryan on his own agenda pushing this than anything else. It wouldn't surprise me if there's no plans whatsoever from the WWE to let him wrestle, but he realizes that if he can get everybody going on about it, then there's a small chance they might give that up, their opinion up, and let him have one more match.
And I mean, we might as well. He's backtracking a little bit, but he also said on Talking Smack that he proposed the idea kind of a no disqualification match.
Yeah.
Between Carmella and Nikki Bella we've never had weapons or no disqualifications or anything like that where it comes to women's matches. It's been something that a lot of people have wanted and asked for, including the women wrestlers. I've seen that they've asked for tables matches or TLC matches. People have said would be really cool if they could do that. I think I saw an interview with Sasha Banks who said she wanted to do a TLC match. Could this be, once again, I don't think this is something from corporate who are saying, just put this feeder out there and see what people want. I think Daniel Bryan knows what people want, and he's making it very public to try and change the ways.
This was very much a straight conversation, you know, to set the scene of it. That, you know, Carmella was talking with them and saying that she just wants to basically beat down the top woman, which is Nikki, and wants to beat her and make her wish that she never came back. And it doesn't matter. She's not bothered about wrestling her. She will just beat her up basically at every point. To which, when she'd left, you know, Daniel Bryan says maybe the route is to put them in a no disqualifications match if she's not fussed. And Renee Young said, "Well, you're the general manager, basically. Can't you announce it now?" And then he kind of went, "Well, you know, I'll need to speak to Shane about that." So it's very much something that he's putting out there that, you know, this is, again, it's his own accord. He knows what the fans want. If he can get as many people, and he'd said this with that footage, didn't he? You know, get on Twitter, get hashtagged and stuff, and the more people that are doing that, the more likely that the top bods are going to listen. So I think this was definitely him sort of sending a subliminal message out to the fans to say, you know, this could happen if you want it.
Chelsea should be all aboard with a women's no disqualifications match, I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely. Like you guys have just said, really, like all the women wrestlers want it. It must just be the top people that, I don't know, have a thing against women and weapons or women and just all out brawling. But I think if they really want to go the whole way with this women's revolution, I really think that they need to give them some kind of stipulations. Like I just want a ladder match or a TLC match, just something like that. I mean, Miss Money in the Bank is like my perfect dream, but no, like I said, a no disqualification match I would be so excited for. But there again, even giving them that no disqualification match, I mean, I think they'd still limit it if they did it, and we wouldn't see anything really. I mean, with the men's, you might get like a low blow, but I can't see.
We'd be very limited. We'd be very limited in what we saw. I've got to agree with you there. Even if they did agree to.
Oh my God! She pulled her hair.
Yeah. It could be just a little. It's only a fraction more than that, I think.
And he's taking the nail clippers. Oh, she's cut her nails. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, a bit like that, maybe.
Maybe a little bit more than that. He's got the padded chair.
Okay, if we got a chair shot, you know, I'll get a chair shot or something like that. That'd be good.
One of these sponsored chairs that you have to pay loads for, you can take home, and it's got like pay-per-view coverage on it, and it's super padded. Yeah, one of them. I don't know. I'm all for it. I don't think it's ever going to happen. There must be clearly a reason why, even in the WWE games, that you're not allowed to use weapons with women and these kind of matches. So yeah, I just cannot see this happening. God, I'd love it to happen. And I think we've mentioned it before. Chelsea, you said the Miss Money in the Bank. Sign them up, man. Sign them up. They want to do it. We want to see it. Get it on.
Yep.
Let's move on to the main event. We had Dean Ambrose versus John Cena in a singles match. John Cena does not think that Dean Ambrose is on his level, and Dean Ambrose thinks that John Cena is a lazy part-timer. And it was the lazy part-timer who was on the defeat end of the match, as Dean Ambrose got a roll-up victory against John Cena. After the match, AJ Styles. I thought I said CM Punk. AJ Styles came out with a flying forearm onto Cena, and a Pele kick onto Ambrose before quickly being dirty deeds. Ambrose ends the show on top and is told that he will be defending his title in a one-on-one rematch with Ambrose. Why have a rematch like so close to the pay-per-view? Anybody thoughts? Just to get it out of the way?
Because they realised once they booked the pay-per-view match already that he didn't have his title shot that he should have had.
Yeah.
That's all I can think.
Backstage, Shane and Daniel Bryan are like, right, let's have this match, triple threat match. It's going to be great. Yeah, he can have his rematch at some point before that.
I think
it's next week. It's next week. You better have it tomorrow.
It won't have been in that accent, but I think that could have been the way that it went down. I don't think it was too far off. I think they got way ahead of themselves. They've seen an opportunity for what they won, and they've completely forgotten that there should be a rematch in there first and foremost, and then realise that there's a pay-per-view literally 2 weeks round the corner, and they've got no time to book anything and do anything, so they've rushed everything.
But big result for Ambrose, getting a win over Cena clean, I guess. Even though it was a roll-up, he didn't have to cheat or anything. He got a win clean. That's big for Ambrose, right?
Yeah.
There's no point going saying who do you think is going to win the match, the triple threat, but this singles match next week. Does AJ Styles go into No Mercy as the champ?
Yeah, he's got to, hasn't he?
Definitely.
I would be shocked if he didn't.
I would be shocked if we didn't go through both without and still have the title. To be honest, I'd be very shocked if he, I would expect to see him at this stage to come out of the pay-per-view as the champion still for now.
But at the same time, he is the champion. AJ Styles is the champion. He's going to be in the match. That's fine. The other two competitors have had a singles match and Cena lost. Why is he even in the No Mercy match? Like, he's lost the number one contendership match. He lost to AJ Styles. Why is he even in the match? Like, that could have been. They could have just had it this week. This is the number one contendership match, and next week on No Mercy could be, the result of that.
Agrees. I have nothing to counteract that. I think it's poor. I think there's a whole lot of poor booking. I think Cena's come back clearly earlier than was expected. I don't know whether he was expected to be back this early or what. He's come back and they've chucked him straight back in, and I think they've completely mistimed everything, and they're kind of stuck now because they've got a pay-per-view to sell in 2 weeks, and they've got no time to build any stories.
Seems rushed for me. I don't understand why, but it seems that they just wanted Cena to be there to say he wants to win the belt for a 16th time.
Yeah.
And if they wanted to do that, they wanted to make that a bit more grandiose. Other than the fact that maybe they wanted to break the record at WrestleMania, I don't understand why they're getting him back to do it now. When clearly this feud was still ongoing. The Dean Ambrose and AJ Styles one, that was still ongoing.
Yeah.
So strange booking again. But let's quickly go through the Clash of Champions this Sunday. Let's go through your predictions. We're going to have Alicia Fox versus Nia Jax in the pre-show. Nia Jax did destroy Alicia Fox. Used her as a baseball bat, you said, right? That's what you said.
Yeah.
Prediction, go.
She'll use her as a golf club this week.
A golf club? Oh,
she'll be like a golf club.
Chelsea, would you like to nominate another sporting apparatus that she may use Alicia Fox as?
But in the film Matilda, where Miss Trunchbull grabs that girl by her pigtails and swings around.
Yes.
Just how far into the crowd can she throw her? That's
so like a Highland fling, with Alicia Fox.
Yeah.
Great timely reference there, Chelsea, on Roald Dahl's 100th birthday week. Well done. Great work. yeah, Nia Jax is going to win this, and we would be shocked if Nia Jax's dominant streak ended on the pre-show of Clash of Champions. Right, let's go with Cesaro versus Sheamus. Best of 7 series. Surprisingly, shockingly, has got all 7. Chelsea, go.
Cesaro.
Stephen?
Yeah, the good guy wins.
I'm going to go Sheamus.
I think so without starting to whittle on about it again, I think I'd like Sheamus to win because I think he's shown a lot more. Like I think he's got in this best of 7 from the one matches that we've seen, he's definitely gone back to how he used to be. Like I've enjoyed those matches and I've enjoyed how Sheamus has been. So I would like to see Sheamus win and carry on with the attitude and the way that he's come across. But I don't see them giving him the win at the pay-per-view.
No. Well, I do see Sheamus winning. I do agree that these matches have been good so far, better than we may have expected. And
Yeah.
I'm expecting this 7th match to be an actual barnstormer. Actually, I think they're really gonna bring the best out of them. I'm hoping because they've got good as they've progressed. So I'm really hoping so. Sami Zayn versus Chris Jericho. Stephen,
Oh,
you stupid idiot.
I would, yeah. At this point, I'd love Jericho to win, but I just can't. They've got to give Sami Zayn a victory, so I'm going to go with Sami.
Chels.
I'm going to go the other way around and just going by what they've been doing with Sami Zayn of late. I'm going to go Chris Jericho.
I'm going to go Sami Zayn with Mick Foley interference. he comes down and takes his entrance or his jacket or something, or his scarf, and gets added to even more to the list of Jericho. Let's go with the United States title match. It's defending again, and Rusev versus Roman Reigns. I still don't really understand why Roman Reigns isn't in the world title match, but yeah, okay. Rusev versus Roman Reigns, United States Championship. Chelsea.
Roman Reigns.
Stefano.
Yeah, I can't see. I still can't see the US title and Roman Reigns, so I'm going Rusev.
I will go with. I'm going to go Rusev as well. Actually, Roman Reigns does not need the United States title. Interestingly, though, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and Dean Ambrose all faces at the moment again. Hello, Shield reunion. They're on different shows. It would have to be a Royal Rumble or something. Just saying. Charlotte, Sasha, Bailey. Steve.
Charlotte.
Chelsea.
Yeah, Charlotte.
Oh, Charlotte. Yeah, I think we all agree. I just can't see the title flip-flopping this much. They must have thought, though, right, that Sasha Banks' injuries were a lot worse than was, because there was no need to take it off her.
Yeah,
if it was for those injuries, like there's not even been a pay-per-view.
I think after what's been going on, I think they may have just been a bit overcautious, and it's completely gone the other way this time round.
Finn Balor on their ends.
Yeah, I think they've kind of seen the level of injuries that they've been getting, and have been a bit worried that that's going to happen again, and they've preempted it. And I think it's gone the other way, that she's been able to return a lot quicker, or not even go at all, as it seems to have been. I would like to, just as on a side note, I'd like to see Nia Jax start to get into that frame now, on that main bit with those 3.
Problem is, once she gets put onto that line, she's the dominant force. It's like Awesome Kong when she Karma when she came in. Like, who was going to do anything to beat her?
Yeah.
What the hell is this noise?
No idea.
Someone's phone next to the computer. Chelsea, New Day versus Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson.
Anderson and Gallows, definitely.
Stefan.
Yeah. I think it'll be the. I think the club will come out victorious there.
I have thought this the entire way, but this entire feud has been a fucking shambles.
That's true.
I'm actually going to say that the New Day are going to retain, and Gallows and Anderson are going to become irrelevant.
Well, they're
Like-
heading that way at the moment, anyway. So
Like that, just use them fucking properly. Just book them as a monster team who come out and destroy people. How is this hard? How is it hard? It's I don't
they are
understand
not.
why.
They're not being sold the way that you guys sold them to me. Put it that way. When when they were first signed.
Right, all we need to happen, Stephen, is WWE to buy New Japan Pro Wrestling for their backlog of videos, and you can watch them all. Not going to happen, but yeah, man, I'm very disappointed with how they've used them. I was more happy when there was with AJ Styles and stuff was going down, the right way, but now it's just an absolute shit show. So yeah. I'm going to go with New Day. I'm going to lone wolf it. And finally, Kevin Owens versus Seth Rollins for the WWE Universal Championship. Question 1. Do we see Triple H?
Yes.
No.
Question 2. I also think no. Who will win? Steve?
Kevin Owens. It's got to be Kevin Owens, but there will be some kind of interference, but I don't think it'll be Trip.
Chelsea?
Yeah, Kevin Owens, and I think we will get Tripp's interference.
You do, huh?
Yeah.
I think Kevin Owens will interfere, but I think it will be Stephanie McMahon who will cost Seth Rollins the title. Inadvertently. Like she's trying to help him.
Yeah, I can see that. That'd be good.
But I think she inadvertently cost Seth Rollins the title. And that's it. That's the show. Oh my god!
Cruiserweight. You missed the best one.
I missed the best match. I was saving it till last on purpose. TJ Perkins versus Brian Kendrick. The main event of the show will be on last. No, it's coming on first, and we all know it to liven up the crowd. Chelsea.
TJ Perkins. I can't see them taking the belt off him when he hasn't even appeared on Raw yet.
That would be hilarious, wouldn't it? Steve.
Yeah, TJ Perkins, and will steal the show.
This is going to be the highlight of the night, and I don't even think it'll be close because this is going to be CWC final level kind of matchup. Sadly, it doesn't have Kota Ibushi in it to give it the extra pizzazz or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I think this will steal the show.
Definitely.
Brian Kendrick, man, what a story. Good thing about Brian Kendrick is that we will get the Brian Kendrick story. That's almost a guarantee at this point, I think.
Definitely.
That wraps us up. Follow us if you want. You probably know one listening. Follow us if you want at Out of Nowhere Pod on Twitter. Follow Chelsea at Fight Chelsea Fight. Follow me at DjangoBob96. Go to outoflives.net and follow all of our gaming and wrestling information. Mostly about WWE 2K17, to be honest. And that is all from us. So, goodbye.
Bye.